I've been with Tom for over 3 decades, our love as deep and enduring as the roots of the old oak in our yard. But life has a funny way of testing even the strongest bonds. It was a crisp autumn evening when we visited Mark, Tom's oldest friend. The night was filled with laughter, beer, and the warmth of old friendships. But as the night deepened, something shifted. Mark's touch lingered a bit too long, his laughter a little too forced. And then, in a moment that felt like both a dream and a nightmare, Mark's lips met mine. The thrill of the forbidden was electric, yet the weight of my loyalty to Tom felt like a stone around my neck. Now, as the morning light filters through our curtains, I'm left with a choice that could either shatter our lives or keep a secret that might slowly erode the trust we've built. What will I do next? Here I am, Linda, at 55, with a life rich in love, laughter, and yes, the occasional heartache. Tom and I, we've been together for over 30 years now, our bond as enduring as the oak tree in our backyard. Our days are filled with the simplicity of routine, the comfort of knowing each other's quirks. But life, as it often does, throws us curveballs. It was a crisp autumn weekend when Tom, with a twinkle in his eye, suggested we visit his oldest friend, Mark. Mark, with his infectious laugh and warm personality, has always been like a brother to Tom. We hadn't seen him in months, and the idea of catching up seemed like the perfect way to spend our Saturday. As we drove to Mark's place, Tom's voice filled the car with tales of their college days. He spoke of pranks that had me chuckling, adventures that sounded more like misadventures, and the kind of friendship that withstands the test of time. I listened, my smile growing with each story, each retelling adding a new layer of nostalgia. Upon arriving, Mark greeted us with open arms, his house already alive with the aroma of grilling steaks and the distant roar of a football game on TV. The atmosphere was warm, familiar, the kind where you feel instantly at home. But as we settled in, something felt off. Mark's usual jovial demeanour seemed forced, his laughter a bit too loud, his eyes not quite meeting ours. Tom, ever the perceptive one, noticed it too. We exchanged a look, a silent agreement to tread carefully, to see where the evening would lead. What could possibly go wrong in such a familiar? The evening started off as expected. Mark handed Tom a cold beer, and they settled into their usual banter, discussing the game with the passion of lifelong fans. I sat on the plush sofa, sipping a glass of wine, enjoying the warmth of the room and the camaraderie. The game was intense, with both teams vying for the lead, and the men's excitement was palpable. As the night progressed, the beer flowed freely, and the laughter grew louder. Mark's wife, Susan, had left earlier for a weekend retreat with her book club, leaving us to our own devices. The atmosphere was light, filled with the comfort of old friends. But as the night deepened, would the comfort turn into something else? I watched as Mark's laughter became more strained, his eyes darting away whenever they met mine. Tom, sensing the shift, tried to steer the conversation back to lighter topics, but the air was thick with an unspoken tension. Mark's hand lingered a bit too long on Tom's shoulder, his touch more intimate than the usual friendly pat. I felt a chill, not from the autumn air, but from the sudden realization that perhaps Mark's forced cheer was covering something deeper, something he was trying to hide or perhaps reveal. The game on TV faded into the background as my mind raced. Was this the night where the lines of friendship would blur? The room felt smaller, the walls closing in as if to whisper secrets we weren't ready to hear. Tom, ever the anchor, caught my eye, his look a mix of concern and curiosity. I knew he felt it too, this undercurrent of something unspoken, something that could either strengthen or shatter the bonds we held dear as the night wore on. With each passing hour, Tom's enthusiasm for the game seemed to wane, his eyelids drooping from the combination of beer and the late hour. Eventually, he slumped onto the couch, snoring softly, a victim to the night's festivities. Mark, ever the gracious host, continued to entertain, his eyes occasionally meeting mine with a warmth that felt different tonight. As the game ended, Mark turned off the TV, and in the sudden silence, he approached me. His touch was gentle as he placed his hands on my waist, pulling me slightly towards him. Before I could react, his lips met mine in a kiss that was both unexpected and strangely familiar. The shock of the moment was overwhelming, yet there was a part of me that didn't pull away. The kiss deepened, and for a moment, time stood still. Mark's hands moved with a familiarity that sent shivers down my spine, his touch igniting a fire I hadn't felt in years. My heart raced, torn between the thrill of the forbidden and the loyalty to my husband, who lay just a few feet away, oblivious to the world. I pulled back, my breath heavy, my mind a whirlwind of confusion and desire. "Mark, what are we doing?" I whispered, my voice barely audible over the sound of my own heartbeat. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mix of longing and regret. "I'm sorry, Linda. I didn't mean for this to happen, but I've been feeling this way for a long time," he confessed, his voice low, almost a plea for understanding. The room felt charged with electricity, the air thick with the weight of our actions. I glanced at Tom, still asleep, his face peaceful in the dim light. Guilt washed over me, but so did a rush of emotions I hadn't anticipated. I need some air," I managed to say, stepping back from Mark. My legs felt weak as I moved towards the balcony door, needing the cool night air to clear my head. Outside, the autumn breeze was crisp, carrying the scent of leaves and the distant hum of the city. I leaned against the railing, my mind replaying the kiss, the touch, the whispered apology. Mark's words echoed in my mind, a mix of regret and desire that mirrored the storm inside me. I stood there, my heart racing, my mind a whirlwind of confusion and curiosity. The room felt smaller, the air thicker with the weight of our actions. We moved to the kitchen, seeking some semblance of normalcy, but the tension followed us like a shadow. Mark poured another drink, his hands shaking slightly. I watched the amber liquid fill the glass, each drop a reminder of the line we had just crossed. We talked in hushed tones, the reality of what had just happened sinking in. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," Mark said, his voice barely above a whisper. His eyes searched mine, looking for forgiveness or perhaps understanding. I took a sip of my wine, the taste now bitter on my tongue. "I know, Mark," I replied, my voice steady despite the turmoil within. "But what now? What does this mean for us, for Tom?" He leaned against the counter, his gaze dropping to the floor. "I've always cared for you, Linda. More than I should have, perhaps. But tonight, I let my feelings get the better of me." The silence that followed was heavy, filled with the unspoken question. Would this moment be a fleeting mistake, or was it the beginning of something more? I glanced back at the living room where Tom still slept, unaware of the storm brewing in his absence. My heart ached for him, for the trust we shared, now tinged with this unexpected betrayal. Yet there was a part of me that felt alive, awakened by Mark's touch, by the forbidden thrill of the moment. "I need to think," I finally said, setting my glass down with a clink that seemed too loud in the quiet kitchen. This changes everything, Mark, and I'm not sure how to navigate it." He nodded, his expression one of sorrow mixed with a flicker of hope. "I understand. Take all the time you need, Linda. I'll be here, whatever you decide." The air between us was charged, not just with the as I stood there, the cool night air doing little to calm the storm inside me. Mark's presence was like a magnet, drawing me back into the kitchen. The dim light cast long shadows, making the room feel like a stage set for a drama we were unwittingly starring in. Mark's hand found mine again, his touch igniting a fire I hadn't felt in years. The thrill of the forbidden was palpable, our words now laced with a mix of guilt, excitement, and a strange sense of liberation. We kissed again, this time with a fervour that spoke of long-suppressed desires. The line was crossed and there was no turning back. In the dim light of the kitchen, with Tom just a room away, we gave in to the moment. It was a whirlwind of emotions, each kiss, each touch, a testament to the years of unspoken attraction. Mark's hands roamed with a familiarity that was both comforting and thrilling, his touch sending waves of heat through my body. I pulled back slightly, my breath heavy, my mind racing. "Mark, this is wrong," I whispered, my voice trembling with the weight of our actions. But even as I said the words, my body betrayed my mind, leaning into him, craving more of this forbidden dance. "I know, Linda," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "But I've been fighting this for so long. Tonight I couldn't anymore." The reality of what we were doing hit me like a cold wave. Tom, my husband, my life partner, was just a few feet away, his trust in me now a fragile thing. Yet here I was, caught in this moment of passion, the thrill of the forbidden making my heart race. We continued to talk in hushed tones, the gravity of our situation sinking in. What would the morning bring after such a night? I thought, the question echoing in my mind like a drumbeat. Mark poured another drink, his hands still shaking slightly. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," he confessed again, his eyes searching mine for some sign of what I was feeling. I took a sip of my wine. Morning came with a harsh light, revealing the reality of our actions. Tom woke up, none the wiser, his head pounding from the night before. Mark and I exchanged a look, a silent agreement to keep the night's events a secret. The drive home was quiet, Tom oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. Back at home, I sat in our living room, the weight of my actions heavy on my shoulders. I knew I had to confront what happened, to decide whether to confess or carry this secret. The bond with Tom was sacred, yet the night with Mark had opened a door I wasn't sure I could close. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, casting long shadows across the room, much like the shadows that now lingered over my heart. I watched Tom, his face serene in sleep, unaware of the turmoil within me. The guilt was like a stone in my chest, heavy and unyielding. I replayed the moments in Mark's kitchen, the warmth of his touch, the forbidden thrill that had momentarily eclipsed my loyalty to Tom. It was a dance of shadows, our bodies moving in a rhythm that spoke of years of suppressed desire. The kiss, deep and consuming, had been both a revelation and a betrayal. As Tom stirred, I felt a pang of regret. How could I have let this happen? The question haunted me, echoing with each beat of my heart. I stood up, my legs feeling like they might give way under the weight of my emotions. I moved to the kitchen, the same place where Mark and I had shared that illicit embrace, now a stark reminder of my infidelity. I poured myself a cup of coffee, the steam rising like my own confusion. Each sip was bitter, mirroring the taste of my guilt. I leaned against the counter, my mind racing. Would I tell Tom? Or would this become a secret that changes everything? The thought of confessing was terrifying, yet the idea of keeping such a monumental secret felt like a betrayal of our life together. I glanced at the clock, the ticking a relentless reminder of the time passing, of decisions left unmade. Tom's laughter from the night before, his easy camaraderie with Mark. Now don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.